The resignation letter was already signed. The office desk was empty. The security badge sat on top of a cardboard box filled with personal belongings. And as single father Thorne Calloway walked out of the building under the bright afternoon sun, he believed he had just made the most painful decision of his life. What he didn't know was that 48 hours later, his CEO would be standing on the front porch of his small house with tears in her eyes and a revelation that would change everything forever. Before we begin, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Dad Chronicles if you believe kindness and second chances still exist in this world. Your support helps bring more heartwarming stories to viewers everywhere. The day was unusually beautiful. The sky stretched endlessly overhead in shades of blue. Children rode bicycles through quiet neighborhoods. Birds drifted across warm sunlight. Life seemed peaceful. But inside Thorne's heart, a storm was raging. At 38 years old, Thorne had spent the last 6 years raising his daughter, Brielle, alone. After losing his wife in a tragic accident, he became both father and mother overnight. Every morning began before sunrise. Every night ended long after exhaustion had taken hold. He packed lunches, helped with homework, attended school events, worked overtime whenever possible, and somehow managed to keep moving forward despite carrying more responsibility than anyone should bear alone. Brielle was 9 years old. Bright, curious, compassionate. She inherited her mother's smile and her father's resilience. Everything Thorne did was for her. Every sacrifice. Every extra shift. Every missed opportunity. Everything. For years he worked as a logistics coordinator at a large transportation company. The position provided stability. Not wealth. Not luxury. But stability. And for a single parent, stability meant everything. Then Brielle became sick. At first it seemed minor. Frequent fatigue. Persistent headaches. Occasional dizziness. Doctors initially suspected stress. Then nutritional deficiencies. Then several other possibilities. Months passed. The symptoms worsened. Eventually specialists discovered a rare condition requiring ongoing treatment and frequent medical appointments. Suddenly Thorne's carefully balanced life began collapsing. Medical visits increased. School meetings became more frequent. Emergency appointments appeared without warning. Yet his job remained demanding. Management expected results. Deadlines never slowed. Schedules never adjusted. Every time Thorne requested flexibility, he felt guilty. Every absence placed additional pressure on coworkers. Every difficult conversation increased his anxiety. The situation reached a breaking point one Thursday afternoon. Brielle suffered a frightening episode at school. The nurse called immediately. Thorne rushed out of work. By the time he arrived, his daughter was conscious and stable. But seeing fear in her eyes shattered something inside him. That evening he sat beside her bed long after she fell asleep. The house remained silent. Only the soft hum of an old ceiling fan filled the room. As moonlight filtered through the curtains, Thorne faced a painful truth. His daughter needed him more than his employer did. The next morning he resigned. The decision terrified him. Without employment, bills would become difficult. Savings were limited. Medical costs continued growing. Yet despite the fear, he felt certain. Brielle came first. Always. His final day passed quietly. Most coworkers expressed sympathy. Several wished him luck. Some admitted they couldn't imagine making such a sacrifice. Thorne appreciated their kindness but remained overwhelmed by uncertainty. Driving home that afternoon felt surreal. He had no plan. No backup job. No guarantee of success. Only faith. And a father's determination. The following 2 days were difficult. Applications were submitted. Phone calls were made. Budgets were reviewed repeatedly. Numbers refused to cooperate. Expenses exceeded income. Future possibilities seemed increasingly fragile. Still, Thorne focused on Brielle. Together they spent time reading books, working on puzzles, walking through nearby parks. For the first time in years, he wasn't distracted by work emails or deadlines. And despite the financial stress, those moments felt precious. Then Sunday afternoon arrived. The sunlight bathed their modest neighborhood in warm gold. Brielle sat on the living room floor drawing colorful pictures while Thorne reviewed job listings. Suddenly a black luxury vehicle stopped outside. Neither paid much attention. Expensive cars occasionally passed through the area. But then someone stepped out. A woman dressed in a simple navy jacket approached the front door. Moments later the doorbell rang. Thorne answered. And froze. Standing on his porch was his CEO. Her name was Coralie Vance. As founder and chief executive of the transportation company, Coralie rarely interacted directly with employees. Thousands worked under her leadership. Most knew her only through company announcements and occasional appearances. Seeing her at his house made no sense. For several moments neither spoke. Then Coralie explained why she had come. After learning about his resignation, she became curious. The report stated he left due to family circumstances. Nothing more. But something about it bothered her. Good employees were difficult to replace. Exceptional employees were even rarer. Thorne had earned a reputation for reliability, integrity, and quiet leadership. His departure felt unusual. So she investigated. What she discovered deeply affected her. She learned about Brielle. The medical condition. The years of single parenting. The sacrifices. The impossible choices. Most importantly, she learned something no report had mentioned. Throughout his employment, Thorne consistently used vacation days helping co-workers during personal emergencies. He donated paid leave, covered shifts, mentored new hires, and repeatedly assisted struggling colleagues without seeking recognition. The company records revealed dozens of examples. Acts of kindness hidden within ordinary workplace interactions. Coralie realized she had nearly lost one of the most valuable people in her organization. Not because of performance. Not because of ambition. But because the company failed to support him when he needed it most. The realization troubled her deeply. As they spoke, Brielle eventually wandered into the living room. Coralie noticed the medical equipment nearby. The medication schedules posted on the refrigerator. The quiet determination filling the small home. For the first time, statistics and reports transformed into real human lives. A father. A daughter. A family fighting to stay afloat. Then Coralie did something unexpected. She apologized. Not with corporate language. Not with carefully crafted statements. But sincerely. She acknowledged that leadership wasn't only about profits and performance metrics. It was about people. And people deserved compassion. Then she presented an idea. Instead of accepting his resignation, she wanted to create a new role specifically designed around his circumstances. A flexible position. Remote work options. Medical leave support. Adjusted scheduling. Full benefits. Everything necessary to allow him to care for Brielle without sacrificing financial security. Thorne sat speechless. The offer felt unreal. For days he had worried about losing everything. Now the possibility of stability suddenly returned. But Coralie wasn't finished. The experience had exposed a larger problem within the company. Many employees faced similar challenges silently. Parents. Caregivers. Families navigating medical crises. People afraid to ask for help. As a result, she planned significant policy changes. Expanded family support. Flexible scheduling programs. Emergency assistance resources. Employee wellness initiatives. The system would improve not only for Thorne but for hundreds of others. Because one father's story had revealed an important truth. People perform their best when they know they matter. Months passed. Life gradually transformed. Brielle continued receiving treatment. Her condition stabilized. The flexible work arrangement allowed Thorne to attend appointments without fear. Financial stress eased. The constant pressure slowly faded. For the first time in years, hope felt stronger than anxiety. Meanwhile, the company's new family support initiatives produced remarkable results. Employee satisfaction increased. Retention improved. Workplace culture strengthened. Stories emerged from workers whose lives had been positively impacted. Parents spending more time with children. Caregivers supporting elderly relatives. Families surviving difficult circumstances. All because one resignation letter forced leadership to pay attention. Nearly a year later, the company hosted a community appreciation event in a large park. Bright afternoon sunlight illuminated colorful tents and smiling faces. Families gathered everywhere. Children played games. Employees shared stories. Music drifted through warm air. Standing near the stage, Thorne watched Brielle laughing with friends. Healthy. Happy. Present. The sight filled his heart with gratitude. Later that afternoon, Coralie addressed the crowd. She spoke about leadership. Responsibility. Human connection. And the importance of seeing people beyond job titles. Then she surprised everyone. She publicly recognized Thorne. Not as an employee. Not as a success story. But as the person whose courage inspired meaningful change. The applause seemed endless. Yet Thorne barely heard it. Because his attention remained fixed on Brielle. His greatest achievement. His reason for everything. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and comment below. Your support helps spread stories that remind us compassion still matters. Special request, comment the word hope if you believe that doing the right thing for your family is never a mistake. As the event continued beneath the bright afternoon sky, Thorne reflected on the journey. The resignation letter he once viewed as a disaster had become the beginning of something extraordinary. Not because it solved every problem. Not because life suddenly became easy. But because it reminded everyone involved of a simple truth. Success means little if we forget the people behind it. Companies need employees. Employees need opportunity. But above all, people need compassion. Sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is choose family over fear. And sometimes, when that choice seems most impossible, it opens doors no one could have imagined. As Brielle ran toward him smiling beneath the golden sunlight, Thorne realized something beautiful. He hadn't lost his future when he quit his job. He had found it. And sometimes, that makes all the difference.